Over the last few weeks, I personally have seen countless YouTube shorts relating to liminal space and backrooms content where you have to pick a door, the left or the right, and whichever door you pick, you're going to be trapped in that liminal space or in that backrooms level for 48 hours. Now, the only problem that I noticed with this trend that's blowing up and getting millions of views is that the majority of the people doing them are using AI-generated images and videos for their visuals, which is a big no-no to me. So I decided to take that concept of pick a door and turn it into a long-form video here on this channel with properly rendered and human-created visuals for your own enjoyment. And I also wanted to film it in a little game show type of vibe, with me as your host. Now, the goal in this video is for you to be able to play along at home and kind of be completely intertwined and interactive with the video, and the game is simple. In this video, there will be 3 different rounds, where you, the wonderful viewer, will have to pick between 2 doors that appear on screen. Whichever door you pick in each round is the liminal space or the backrooms level that you'll be stuck in for 2 days straight. Both of the doors in each round have varying levels of difficulty, environmental dangers, and layouts, and they're all different, and I'll be explaining them as we get to them. And at the very end of the game and the very end of the video, you guys can tally up which doors you picked, and you can see if you would survive any of them that you chose. You might not, you might get lucky, or you might have some kind of skill where you can see what's behind a door. So welcome to the first official liminal space pick a door game show here on the Brugly channel. If you find yourself enjoying this video, please leave a like, it really helps the algorithm. And without further ado, let's hop right into this game and let's get into round 1 right now. Welcome to round 1 of the game. In front of you, there are 2 doors that you can choose from. Behind each of the different doors, there is a liminal space or backrooms level that you're going to be sentenced, essentially, to be trapped in for 2 days, and you're going to want to pick wisely because some of these are more dangerous than others. Now, I'm going to be generous, and I'm going to allow you 5 full seconds to choose which door that you would like to pick and walk through, so the timer for that will begin right now. Awkwardly sitting here for 5 seconds. Whichever one you just picked, here's what's behind it. Firstly, let's open up door number 1, and let's see what lies behind it for all of those viewers, that could be you, that chose this one. Behind door number 1 is a section of the pool rooms that is commonly known as the floating slides. Now, this is an expansive place filled with innumerable amounts of water slides and plastic slides, all located in a section of the pool rooms. The different tubes from the various slides all intertwine and connect and warp with each other into this massive labyrinthine structure that can actually get really convoluted if you let it. The floor of these floating pool room areas is always saturated with lukewarm water. Usually it's no higher than shin deep, maybe 12 inches at its highest, and this is just a generally safe area that you're probably going to have a pretty good time exploring. The reason I looked up there is because there was a bug, I think a ladybug, on my light, and it looked like the bat signal. It was like shining in my face. Whatever. This place is calm. It's relaxing. It's kind of a vibe, honestly, just walking around, hearing the water sounds, getting to slide down cool slides into the water. It's pretty dope. There's not really any horrific creatures here that want to rip your face off, but one thing to be aware of is that you're going to be stuck here for 2 days, and there really isn't any food to speak of. There's water, although it is warm, but it's safe to consume, and you're kind of just gonna have to go on a little hiatus of eating. They call that fasting, for those of you that don't know. And for a 2-day fast, you'll have to be here and you'll have to experience it, but you should be okay. The only danger of this space behind door number 1 is if you end up crawling back into the labyrinth of slides. Because like I said, the tubes and stuff, they seem to be infinite, they interconnect in strange ways, they're very enigmatic in their structure, they go up, they go down, and if you get too deep into them, might get lost, you might not be able to make your way back out, or you could get physically stuck in a corridor of slide that's too small for you, and if that happens, you're probably just gonna get stuck there forever. And maybe if you're really unlucky, you could get stuck in a pose like the Nutty Putty Cave incident, but the slide version. Pretty sure I made a video on an SCP like that too. But yeah, that was behind door number 1. You got decently lucky. Just don't get stuck inside the slide and you'll have a pretty relaxing stay. Let's check out what was behind door number 2, and we can see if you got lucky or if you got unlucky-er. If you are one of the people that picked door number 2, then you'll be spending the next 48 hours inside of the infinite grassy plains. Not to be confused with level 94 from the Backrooms, these are not the same, there is a difference. This is more like level Pi, if you know what that is, not level 94. This is more grassy, but we'll get into it now. The grass in these plains is short and it feels plasticky when you walk on top of it. In fact, the entire place has this aroma of paint, like freshly rolled paint, and everything seems fake and very flimsy. If you walk far enough into these grasslands, there are 2 specific sub-areas of the grasslands that you're going to be able to explore and kind of fill your time with while you're here for the 2 days. The first of these areas is what we call the Field of Flowers, which I know is a totally unique name for the field that has flowers inside of it. You'll know you're here when the grassy hills and flatlands start getting overtaken with these really colorful flowers that pop up out of the ground. This area is overwhelmingly pungent with a very sweet, very overpowering, intoxicating, even flower smell. Everything smells floral, like your nose is getting grabbed and ripped off by a rose. It's very bad. The smell is also said to be strangely addictive, and if you know anything about the rules of the Backrooms, and if you watched my Backrooms rules video last year, you know never to smell any flower that you find in the Backrooms because oftentimes they have toxins inside of them that act as a hallucinogen to make you kind of lose track of time, lose track of space, and you end up wandering around until you... Now that was the first area that you'll come to explore while visiting the grassy plains. The second area is the repeating houses. These are the hills and the flatlands of this grassy area with nothing but cardboard houses that are full size, but they're made out of only cardboard and paint. All the houses are literally just Control-C, Control-V, which is copy and paste, over and over again with literally no changes. It's the exact same house, just over and over and over again. Now, there are different sections of houses that look different, but in the same section, all of them will be exact mirror images of each other. You can walk inside these houses, you can explore, and this is actually a pretty safe area where you can rest and sleep inside of these cardboard cutouts. The grasslands are also safe. It's just a lot bigger and more traversable of an area than the door number 1 area was because the pool rooms are kind of harder to get around in. These grasslands, you can just walk around forever. It's very simple. But make sure you don't get too kind of swept up in exploration, because you got to survive for 2 days until the exit appears. So don't be sniffing all the flowers and don't be walking off and following yellow brick roads and stuff. You get what I'm saying. Okay, so that was round 1. Whichever one of those doors you choose, make sure to remember it, so at the end you can kind of write them in the comment section below and let me know which ones you survived. But now that you know how the game works, let's move on to round 2, and let's have you pick between doors 1 and 2 yet again. Okay, you have 5 seconds to choose. Alright, time's up. Hopefully you chose. Let's start with door number 2 this time to change it up a little bit. If you chose to open door number 2, then you will be staying for the next 2 days inside of the Infinite Arcade. This is a place that is chocked full of gaming machines and general arcade fodder. There's pool tables, old pinball machines, air hockey, skeet ball, whatever else you can imagine that's going to be in an arcade is going to be here. There's old machines, there's new machines, there's every single thing. And honestly, it never seems to end. The ambience of this level is very similar to that of a real-life casino, if you've ever been inside of a casino. The floor here is carpeted, the ceiling is dark, there's no windows to let you know what time of day it is, so all you'll do constantly is just play these different arcade machines while you lose track of what happens in reality. Although I guess it really doesn't matter because you're in the back rooms, but whatever, I digress. Throughout this gigantic infinite arcade, there are also randomly placed food court areas that automatically produce different types of food that you can partake in. And there's booths and things like that to sit around when you get the food. Now, it's not recommended to play the games for the entirety of the 2 days that you're here because they have this addictive quality to them. If you've ever seen iCarly, when Spencer starts playing Pack-Rat and he can't stop, that's pretty much what happens here, and you don't want that to happen, of course. If you can make it past the addiction, though, being in an infinite arcade with food and no real-life worries is actually a pretty cool thing if you can control yourself. So congratulations to those that opened door 2, because that honestly seems like the perfect way to spend 2 days. Those of you that chose door number 1, you will be staying inside of the playhouse, or the level playhouse as I'm going to call it. This is a backrooms level that appears to be some sort of indoor carnival or fair. There's expansive tents and corridors and secretive hallways and things of that nature that you're going to be able to walk through here, and honestly, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Throughout the entire level, jovial, what can only be described as carnival-style music plays softly through an unknown source, because no matter where you go, no matter how deep you get either, it stays the exact same volume, as if it's just automatically in your ears. Continuing along through this entire place, you're going to notice tons of different carnival games that you can play, like darts and ring toss and balancing acts and every single thing that you can imagine that would be at a carnival or a fair. You can play those games here. Winning any of these games, if you complete the objective, like if you have a game where you have to knock pins down and you end up knocking all the pins down, you'll be able to get prizes in the form of food rations or supplies. The prizes depend on exactly where you're at in the level and exactly what kind of game you're playing, but for the most part, they do come in the form of supplies that'll be very useful for your continued journey throughout the backrooms and these liminal spaces. Inside of this place, however, there have been very strange reports of some sort of clown-type creature that kind of lurks in the shadows the deeper you go. The entity moves in a very unnatural, ungainly way, sort of like an old steamboat animation style, like the old Mickey Mouse. They kind of glitch around and warp when they walk, and they don't seem to be kind of natural flesh and blood. They seem to be animated in a way. But they cause mischief, they steal prizes, they rig the games, and more importantly, they do enjoy consuming a wanderer or two. So you gotta be really careful when you're walking through these hallways because you're gonna be alone for 2 whole days, and I don't think being eaten by a carnivorous clown is the best way to do that. But if you can avoid that, I think it'd be pretty fun to come here, to be honest. Alright, that was round 2. Again, keep which door you picked down on a note. That way you can comment at the end of the video and let me know which sequence you chose, and if you could survive any of them. But let's move on to round 3. You got 5 seconds to choose door 1 or door 2. That starts now. Now, these are the final 2 choices that you have in this video, so choose wisely, my friend. You got 5 seconds. Alright, let's see what is behind door number 1. If you chose the first door, you'll be spending the next 2 days inside of the Infinite Trampoline Park. This is a very strange place in the Backrooms lore, to say the least. I've actually made a full video talking about its lore if you want to go check that out, a little winky winky. But the level's filled with odd physics, a very strange layout, and everything kind of just seems dangerous. From a normal perspective, when you see what's behind this door, you kind of just see a giant trampoline park. You know, what could go wrong? You just bounce on trampolines for 2 days. But the reality of the situation is a little bit more bad. There are trampolines in this expanse, and there are these foam pits that you can jump in. There's kind of snack stations and bathrooms and stuff like that. But the weird thing about this place is how the gravity and geometry works here. Each of the trampolines throughout the park seems to have some sort of different relationship with gravity. For instance, you could jump on one trampoline, and it could be normal, you just fly a few feet in the air. But then you jump over to the next trampoline, And you can fly 50 feet in the air all the way up to the roof because the gravity is less, it's different there. And then you can jump over and the gravity can be so heavy that you fly right through the trampoline next to you. It all just depends on where you go, but it's very dangerous to play that game because you don't know which is which. Because of this, it is extremely important that you choose the path that you walk on to get through the level very carefully, and you don't go all willy-nilly jumping because you could end up somewhere you don't want to be. The foam pits that are in this level as well, that you would usually jump into from a trampoline, should never be jumped into inside of this place because they're not made out of foam, they're made out of some kind of sharp insulation material. Like house insulation that has fiberglass in it. That's what these things are made of here. So it's not a foam pit, it's a pain pit. Now, the only good part about this trampoline park, it seems, is that there are these intermittent vending machine areas where you can get snacks and food to fuel your way through the journey. There are also bathrooms here, so you can use the restroom. So if you pick door 1, that's what you can expect. But let's see what happens if you actually picked door 2 for this final round. Behind door number 2 is the infinite ball pit. This is a lifeless expanse that goes out forever in any direction you can see. Left, right, up, down. It's infinite whichever way you cut it, and it's just a gigantic ball pit. Beyond the ball pit, the ceiling and the walls or whatever else you can see, it's all pitch black and there's no light. It's just you and a bunch of balls. The balls themselves can be traversed through via using kind of a swimming motion, like a backstroke or a breaststroke or whatever stroke you like. I'm making a lot of jokes here, if you can't tell, guys. Come on, can I get a laugh? At the same time, it's very difficult to move through this ball pit because there's no floor to it. It literally goes down infinitely, so if you're not careful, you can sink into them and end up suffocating. Ball pit also has no natural supplies. There's no water, there's no food. It's just plastic balls for as far as you can see. The entire level has no light, like I said. There's not anything in the ceiling illuminating, so unless you kind of bring a phone or a flashlight, you're gonna be alone in the darkness for 2 days, sinking into balls. It's assumed that there's no other life forms inside of the ball pit, like there's no monsters or anything, but there might be. It is an infinite place, and it is the Backrooms, so you can never count that out fully. All we know is that you're gonna be stuck here, and it's not gonna be very fun. Because honestly, death by balls is not the way I would like to go out in the Backrooms. There's many better ways I would have chose. So sorry to those that picked door number 2 in this round. But yeah, those are the first 3 rounds of this liminal space game show choosing thing. If you did enjoy the video, please do leave a like, that way YouTube knows, and that way it gets out to more people, and more people can interact. Also, make sure that you comment below which sequence of doors you picked, and if you would survive them. So if you pick like 1, 2, 1, then let me know. I want to hear about it. Shout out to the YouTuber Noel Slop here on this platform for the idea and the inspiration of the kind of pick the door style. I saw their videos and they're really cool, so I decided to make this kind of long form version and expand it a bit. Look at that, guys. It's not hard to give credit. But like I said, please do leave a like and comment if you did enjoy this game show type thing. It is a different style of video, but I had a lot of fun making it. I'm probably going to make it into short form content too, and maybe make this a series. Let me know if you want that. With all that said, thank you so much for everything. I'll see you on whatever other platforms there are, ever. Bye!